Hi there, welcome. We're going to cover 5 questions today to help you understand hard money using a board game. The board game that we're going to use is called Huddle Up. This is a family game, takes about 45 minutes. It's a mix of strategy and luck. It's usually for players that are 14 and up. But here's the good news. You don't need to have this game to play. You can watch the video and you can still learn from the 5 questions. All right, so let's jump right in. So this game has 42 of these pieces here. These are little Bitcoin tokens, and each one of them has written on them, it says 500,000. There are 42 of these guys. There are 42 of these guys, and the way you start out with the game is you're going to spread these out. You put one on the board for each one of these players, and by the end of the game, all the Bitcoin will go from the board over here onto the player wallets. And that's it. So here's the thing though. There are exactly 42. 42 times 500,000 Bitcoin each is exactly 21 million. That'll be important as we move forward. All right, so let's push that to the side. Here's another game, just for comparison's sake. A lot of people are familiar with Monopoly. So in Monopoly, you have different type of money. So you have all this paper money basically in Monopoly. So that's what each player starts out with. And then of course there's a bank, which is a player, and they get all this other money here. So I don't even know how much money is in a standard Monopoly. That looks like a lot to me. But here's a funny thing. If you're playing Monopoly and you play it really well and you manage somehow that the bank has all their money distributed to the players, somehow you do that, you don't stop playing. The bank just takes out a note and it says, okay, we'll just give you some more money. And we say, okay, now that's money. And then you just keep on playing. So the point is, there's no limit. In this game, you have exactly 21 million Bitcoin represented on these 42 tokens. And in this game, there is no limit. That's the introduction. All right, question number 1. How do humans make decisions? This one's actually a pretty easy question. So humans want to better themselves. So if you say it's 1,000, 2,000 years ago and you decide, I'm hungry, I want to go eat, and you hunted food, pretty straightforward decision, right? But today, things are a little bit more complex. So today, though, we make thousands and thousands of decisions every day. And the idea is you're going to make those decisions in a way that you think is going to make you better off either immediately or in the future. Should I buy something? And by the way, you can buy things. We all know this. Anytime we want on our phones, we can buy anything anywhere in the world, anytime. It's pretty amazing. All right, let's go on to question number 2. Why does scarcity matter? So first of all, scarcity is just a way of saying there's a limited supply of something. Some things feel limitless. There's air all around us. If I asked you, hey, I'm going to charge you for air, and I said, pay me for air, you'd probably tell me no. But if air was scarce, say you were underwater and you hadn't taken a breath for 30 seconds, you'd pretty much pay anything. I don't know how he would do it, but you'd pretty much pay anything because it's scarce. So if you were in the desert and you needed water, water would be scarce. That's very different than if you're at your home and you just turn on the faucet. So the situation, your personal situation, is going to influence you with question number 1. How do you make yourself better? You want to take actions to make yourself better? Well, scarcity of things around you is going to be an important thing to consider. So that's why scarcity matters. Question number 3. Is time scarce? I think everybody would agree time is scarce. It's limited. We don't know how much we each get, and when it's gone, it's gone. We can't do anything about it. And the funny thing about time, though, is people are willing to trade their time for money. So that's something that's very scarce, your time. And yet this is very interesting. So it actually leads to question number 4. Is money scarce? Well, here's the funny thing. Sometimes It really depends. It depends on the time and it depends on the money. So let's look at the time. So let's say you're early in the Roman Empire and the coins had a lot of silver. They're almost all silver. You could get a lot with that. You had a lot of purchasing power with that. But over time, they wanted to increase the amount of coins they had. So they put a little less silver in, and then they put a little less in, and then they put a little less in. So if you had that same coin, but at the end of the empire, your purchasing power was greatly reduced. So what happened? The money supply had increased and the purchasing power had decreased. So is money scarce? Well, it became less scarce because now they can just make more and more. They're not the first ones to do this. A lot of cultures have done this. And one of the most famous, and one where they have wheelbarrows, they have pictures of people with wheelbarrows full of paper money stacked up, was the Weimar Republic in the early 20th century. They had just printed so much money that the wheelbarrow was worth more than the money itself. So it kind of depends on what the money is and when, and what's your circumstance, what they're doing with it. Let's jump to number 5 now. This is where things are going to start to get much, much deeper. So question number 5 is, why does being scarce matter for money? So we're going to look at gold now. This is going to be different than the other examples. For thousands of years, gold has been a money around the world. And humans can only mine a little bit of gold at a time. And often a great effort, right? You have to dig it up. You're going to have to melt it down. You're going to transport it. You're going to put it into a different format. Then you're going to transport it again. And then you got to pay for security the whole time because other people are trying to take it. And as long as you have that, it's a hard money. And by hard, we're saying it's hard to make more of. The paper money that we gave you, like with the Weimar Republic example, really easy. You just run the printing press and away you go. And today, you just add some zeros on it. We can call it printing money. Digital money, we just print it by making extra zeros. But what happened with the gold? So the thing about gold is when we were on the gold standard, we actually had great advances. You think about the telegraph and flight and the X-ray and railroads and all kinds of other amazing things that happened when we were on a gold standard. So are we on a gold standard today? Nope. So if you look at 1933 in the US, Executive Order 6102, that partially took us off the gold standard, at least domestically. And then you get to 1971 and you call it the Nixon shock, and that's where internationally we were officially, as the US, officially on a fiat standard. So what is fiat? Fiat just means declared value. So gold, when you actually were using only gold, that was a hard money. You could make 1.5%, maybe 2% more gold, or find and refine more gold each year compared to today, where you just add some zeros to the end. So the answer is the gold standard was a hard money, and it would be if we could stick to it. And unfortunately, we just haven't been able to stick to it. All right, we're going to bring this back to the game now. We've covered the 5 questions, and let's just put them the pieces together. So when the governments can just print money, they will. They just have an incentive to keep doing it because now they can pay for whatever they want to pay for. And the money printer just goes burr. All they have to do is make more. They don't even have to make paper now. They just make some extra digits. And as we talked about, if you look at the total supply of gold that has ever been made, on average, the amount of new gold that can be made compared to that stock is about 1.5–2%. So gold is a harder money than fiat. So in the game, there are 21 million Bitcoin that we talked about. And the thing that is really cool about this is in real life, Bitcoin has 21 million Bitcoin. And no CEO of a tech company, the president, the chairman of the central bank, nobody, no country, person, organization can ever make more than 21 million. It is capped. In fact, if you really think about it, some of it's been lost because people lost their passphrases for it, their keys, and there's actually less than that in terms of what's accessible. But it is capped. So let's just do this. The next time you play Monopoly or the next time you play Huddle Up, just think about what these games represent. Again, in this game, it is a fixed supply. It is the hardest money ever because you can't make more of it. And in the fiat game, there is no limit. And as the money printer goes burr, the money supply goes up, the value goes down. Keep on going down to zero. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. So as we wrap up, there is one more thing. I will tell you that if you are interested in Huddle Up, I will leave a link in the show notes below to the website where you can grab that. And the other thing is there's a book that goes with the game if you like. It basically captures all the lessons and all the background of how this game represents Bitcoin. So if you go to the show notes, there'll be a link there. If you go there and submit the little form, we will send you a free copy of the ebook for Teaching Through Games 21 Bitcoin Lessons that goes with the game Huddle Up. Really appreciate all you guys. Best of luck out there and happy hodling.